Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host with the most, Trevor, and we are here for a very exciting live stream. If you've been following me for a while, you know that the quantum computing sector of the stock market, one of my favorite sectors, really groundbreaking technology. I am really intrigued by everything with quantum. Most recently, I've been reading this book by Michio Kaku, who is a science genius. This book is titled Quantum Supremacy. So quantum is quite a complex subject overall. If you don't totally understand quantum, I definitely suggest picking up this book by Michio Kaku. A great read overall. Today, a very exciting day. Here on screen, I have QBT, QUBT, Quantum Computing Incorporated on the left. On the right, I have Rigetti Computing, because both of these companies are going to be reporting here just shortly after the markets close. So we have Rigetti reporting at 1:05 my time, so just 5 minutes after the markets close. And then we also have QUBT reporting also just 5 minutes after the close. Let me get myself off screen really quick, just so you guys could see what the expectations are for today. So QBT expected to come out with a massive earnings. Their revenue estimate for this first quarter of 2026 expected to be their largest ever, absolutely crushing all the other quarterlies when it comes to expectations. And so if we look at the past quarterlies with QUBT, this company has yet to earn 1 million in a quarter. Now this quarter, they are expected to come in at 3.27. Their earnings per share estimates are expected to come in just slightly negative, but great to see that this company has what appears to be such an acceleration in revenue coming. And this recipe right here fits perfectly for me. If you are new to this channel, what I mainly focus here on is technology, AI, quantum, and the small caps. And this right here, QBT, is a small cap at just 2.3 billion. And there is also a decently high short interest on QBT. So if we look at the short interest here, we have more than a quarter of the float being shorted, 27% short interest. Rigetti is at a similar position here. Rigetti currently has a 14% short interest and a slightly bigger market cap, but just slightly at 6 billion. So still in that mid market cap range. I'm very excited about today. And when we do look at the technical analysis for both QBT and Rigetti, both have been having a big push up today. QBT up by 5%, Rigetti up by 7%. And again, if you've followed me long enough, you know that this is one of my favorite sectors within the market. And when we do just look at the last year in quantum computing, both QBT and Rigetti had crazy face rip and rally type momentum. So I started covering the quantum stocks back at the beginning of 2025. My first video here, this was on February 9th. So let me get myself off screen again, just so you guys could see the timestamp here. February 9th was the first time we covered the quantum stocks. And I titled the video is QBTS, so another quantum play, and quantum going to have a euphoric run in 2025. We ended up covering quantum for the entire year, and now here at the beginning of 2026. And well, I gotta say, in 2025, I saw my most euphoric return on investment I've ever gotten in my entire life. With these quantum computing stocks, there is a ton of volatility. Again, still a decent high short interest in both of these plays. So if we do see a big push up from these earnings, if they do come out and meet on expectations or even beat on expectations as investors, that is what we are hoping for. We could see a big squeeze in both of these stocks. When we do look at the gamma exposure levels, every single time we do these earnings calls, we always look at the gamma exposure levels where the weekly option expirations lie, where a lot of contracts are clustered up. When we look at QUBT, there are a lot of calls right at the $10 mark, some at $10.50. We go higher to 11, and still a lot of gamma gamma exposure right around $12. And so if we do see a break through these levels, we could start to see a lot of price acceleration. We'll draw out the main levels of gamma we have here on QBT. So let's take a look again. We have a lot of exposure right around that $10 mark and then $10.50. So really acting as major levels of resistance currently for QBT. And as we could see, again, I always show these levels every single time we do one of these earnings calls. They are a pretty accurate tool when you look at gamma exposure, because gamma does influence delta, which is the underlying price of these contracts. The delta does matter the most. And so gamma lying right now right around $10.50. We'll draw out that for QBT. And then we also do have a lot of gamma exposure right around 10. So if the bears get what they want, what they ideally want to see is for QBT to fall underneath 10. A lot of the dealers, I'm sure, would like to see that, because then you would see a lot of these calls expire worthless. So right now, the main levels in between 10.50 and 10 for the bulls. If we do break past these levels, we could see what is considered a gamma squeeze. Now, we do have a decent amount of shorts placed around $9. So we do have some puts around that $9 mark. Let's draw that out. So basically, I am drawing these out just because, in my opinion, going off of the gamma exposure levels, the tool on unusual whales, these are the main levels that I am looking at here today, the main expected move for QBT. Now let's take a look at Rigetti and the expected levels for that. So we have a lot of call volume with Rigetti right around $20, so slightly higher than we are at right now in both QBT and also Rigetti. The main level of calls I see where a lot of that call exposure is at is right around 20 for Rigetti and then right around 10 for QBT. So we have a lot of call exposure around 20 here for Rigetti. As we can see, we pushed right up to those levels today, and now we are riding at these levels. Let's see if the bulls can take control today and we could break through these levels and start to see what could be considered a gamma squeeze for Rigetti, or let's see if the bears take control and we do finish with a lot of calls finishing worthless for option OPEX for this cycle for the week. And then we do have a lot of put gamma right around 19, so slightly under that $20 mark. So 20 acting as a major level of support right now for those who are bulls within Rigetti. Let's draw out the $19 level here. So again, I'm just drawing these out as these are the expected moves of volatility today. Again, when we just look at the gamma exposure level. So we got 19 right around there. So that is the expected move. If we remain at these levels, again, a lot of gamma exposure here. If the bears get their way, we could drop down to 19 in Rigetti. And again, this is just a tool that I look at every single time I do these earnings reports. It has been quite accurate. So if you've joined me for these earnings reports, we drew out these levels for Big Bear AI. It seemed to be pretty accurate. Same with Robinhood and then also SoundHound AI. So we also do have a lot of call exposure. I believe that was right around 22. So let's go back here. Draw out the mark of 22. Again, this is where I am expecting the main moves today. Earnings reports are always volatile. So if this is the first time you've ever been a part of one of these earnings reports, there is always a ton of volatility with these. You either see a big break towards the upside or you could see a big crackdown. And as always, these are a two-half game. So kind of like a football game or a basketball game. You have the first half when the official numbers get released, which we will get here in about 5 minutes. To take myself off screen again, we will see how these companies do report here in 5 minutes, see if they will beat or meet Wall Street's expectations. And then shortly after that, we will have the investor call. So my question for everybody today is for quantum computing. We have the investor call here in 29 minutes. This is going to start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1:30 my time. And then shortly after that at 2 o'clock, so just 30 minutes after this call starts for Quantum Computing Incorporated, we have Rigetti's call. So my question to everybody here in chat is, which quantum computing company interests you more? If the Quantum Computing Incorporated call continues to bleed into the Rigetti call, do you guys want to continue to stay with the Quantum Computing call, or do you want to go over to Rigetti? I'm really down for either or. I love the quantum sector. As I said, for this week's preparation, this is really quantum week, and these stocks can run in quite a bit of correlation. And when one sees great results or momentum, it does bleed into the entire sector for the most part. So quite a bit of correlation today. Again, we have QUBT and Rigetti, and then tomorrow morning we have my favorite. Wow, I can't believe it's at $24. My favorite quantum computing company reporting, that is going to be QBTS. So overall, this is a very exciting week. If you have been only following me for this live stream, or if you haven't seen my opinions most recently, quantum is one of my favorite sectors within the market. Again, we have been covering it since last year. Now, to take a look at the live stream, again, everybody, we will get the official earnings report from QUBT and Rigetti here in just a couple minutes. So we are anticipating, again, right here for QBit, I have the main levels where I expect the move to be. If we go towards the upside, we could jump up past 1050. If we do see a crackdown, if the bears get their way, they do want to see QBit bleed down to $9. For Rigetti, we are right at this main level of support. We have 22 being a higher level, and then there at the bottom, I thought I drew out 22 here. Is it just that high? Wow. See, that's the type of volatility that you could have with these stocks. That is really the expected moves when we look at the options contracts and weekly expo. Now to the chat, for everybody who is here, thank you all for joining me. Again, I absolutely love quantum computing. Let's go. This is so exciting to have two amazing companies reporting here for the earnings. This is awesome. We started really going live about 2 months ago, but this is the first time we have covered two different companies on the same day. And today I am focusing on quantum, but also this morning we did have one of my favorite companies report, which is Circle Internet Group. They came in slightly lower than on expectations, but still a massive pop now at $131. As I have been saying, Circle Internet Group to me is a hot in play stock, which can have some crazy momentum coming up if we do see that big Clarity Act get passed this Thursday through the Senate and then go to the president. We also have Hims and Hers Health, so we will see how they report here in just 5 minutes. And we have a ton of other companies on the earnings for today and the rest of the week. So a big week for quantum, a big week for AI, a big week for technology. In my belief, again, I do believe that we are seeing an overall rotation back into technology. And what is so exciting about the earnings today is, as I've been saying most recently, if we look at the S&P and the NASDAQ, the overall market, a very similar setup to what we got in 2025. We saw a big bleed for the first quarter of the year. Then we saw a lot of buying, and we saw that big bear market that so many were scared of. We saw that get eaten up in such a short amount of time. And then what some coined as the most hated V recovery of all time happened shortly after. Now this year, we did see an official correction in the market. So we got some bleed down till April, and then all of a sudden the market's having a big rally once again. Last year, after we saw the major indexes rally, after that short attack happened and the markets recovered, well, we saw momentum within the entire market, and we saw great results with the quantum plays. And if we see that again, I do believe that this could be the beginning of a massive run up. So I'm looking for some euphoric ROI once again in quantum. Again, if you don't understand quantum too much, I really suggest picking up this book, which is Michio Kaku and Quantum Supremacy, and it talks all about the history of computing and the technology, the atoms, how these quantum computers really work. Stephanie Diaz, welcome to the stream, a longtime subscriber of this channel. Stephanie, always great to see you here. You've shown a lot of support. You have been here for multiple earnings calls and also for our weekly Sunday stock talk. So if you guys are here for the first time, every single Sunday we do lives just like we are doing right now, and we get prepared for the upcoming week. By the way, it is now 1:05, so we should see these companies officially start to move here in just a second. Look at Rigetti right there having a slight push up. So far, QUBT not having too much movements, but Rigetti is continuing to push up. That is exciting. Earnings is now. Earnings should be coming out any second here. And then at 1:30, we have the earnings call with QUBT. At 2 o'clock, we have it with Rigetti. COMEX earnings report later today. Oh, for the hard metals, for silver. That is exciting, bro. I am loaded. I am also loaded up in the quantum stocks. Again, in 2025, I saw my most euphoric return on investment. I got into QBTS right around $4. Right now, QBTS is at $24. I saw absolutely insane returns with the options contracts. Also, I hold some shares on QUBT as well as options contracts on QUBT. I also have a lot of QBTS and I have some Rigetti. So I am well positioned within the quantum stocks. It looks like Rigetti is having some volatility right now, but overall these earnings, I haven't seen how they have came in just yet. I want to see the continued price action. Then we'll go over to the websites and see how they just reported. But right now, QBit not moving too much. Rigetti seeing a bit of red here, but also still flat, still above that major support level, that major level of gamma exposure right around $20. So I will be happy if these earnings come in flat and these stocks continue to just move sideways, or if they do push up. If we do see a bit of a sell-off, well, that is fine with me, because again, I will just take the opportunity to add more to my quantum shares in these plays right here. And I've been in for about 3 weeks. I have July 18th expiration. I have 7 strike. Okay, you have a 7 strike. Is this on QBit? That is exciting to hear. You confirmed that with QBit. To the moon. Another day, another trade, another longtime subscriber of this channel who has shown a ton of support. My friend, thank you for joining me on the live stream today. Let's see if we could get some official reports here for these companies, see if we've actually gotten the earnings thus far. So let's go over to the overview. Let's see if we got the official earnings. So I haven't seen anything here yet, at least not on the financials. I am loaded in to the investor presentation. They might just be making us wait here for a second, at least with Rigetti. I'm not seeing an update on that just yet. Let's see if QBit has officially released their filings yet. Let's see. So April 30th. So we actually have not seen either of these companies yet actually report on their earnings, at least from their website. Let's see if there's someone else that is earlier to it. Let's see if this has been announced to those inside investors. Let's go to the earnings here. Let's see if anything has happened here. Let's take a look here at volatility. So Rigetti's new 108 qubit system and $100 million plan for UK Quantum. Okay, let's take a look here. And then Q1 2026 revenue was 4.4 million. Operating loss was 26 million. GAAP income, net income was 33.1, and non-GAAP net loss was 14 million. Diluted GAAP and non-GAAP net loss per share were 0.6 and 0.4 respectively. Rigetti ended the quarter. This is what we've talked about with QBTS. What's great about these companies, you know, some of the bears will just look at these companies and say, well, historically, these companies have not been earning a lot of money. There's been dilution with these stocks in the past. Well, maybe those bears have never read such a tremendous read like this book right here, because what they don't understand is there's been a lot of research and development with these companies. Quantum is truly the future, and what's great about these companies is they do have a lot of cash on their balance sheet. Rigetti showing that they have 569 million and also no long-term standing debt. And it looks like this is the big news right here. The company launched its 108 qubit system into general availability across multiple cloud platforms, advanced on-premises deployments, and announced plans to invest up to 100 million in the United Kingdom towards a 1,000 qubit system in 3 to 4 years. Wow, that is very exciting. Looking to do some expansion out in the beautiful United Kingdom. Now, let's see if we got anything here for qubit earnings. By the way, that came in. We did officially stock Titan clutch here early to the reports. Let's go over to Earnings Hub Now that we know that Rigetti came in at 4.4 million, let's see if they beat on the expectations or if they did meet on the expectations. Let's go, Rigetti! Woo! It looks like we got tremendous news here, and the company beat on Wall Street's estimates. Let's go. Coming in at 4.4 million. Hell yeah, Rigetti also having a nice EPS coming in right at about expectations. Congratulations, Rigetti investors. Earnings have came in great for Rigetti in terms of the numbers, beating expectations by Wall Street here, still seeing a flat movement. So this is very surprising with how volatile quantum is, that we are seeing such sideways movement right now in QUBT and Rigetti. But again, there are a decent amount of shorts against quantum, which again, I think those bears have never read up on quantum, nor do they know how amazing the technology with quantum is. We have a lot of gamma exposure right around 20, and then we have a lot of gamma exposure right around 10. So if we do break through those higher levels of gamma, this is where we could start to see some squeezes within these stocks. So it looks like the bears do have slight control of the quantum plays right now. Rigetti slightly dropping under this level of support right now at 19.99. But again, I am not too concerned. There's been a lot of advancements in quantum. This is why we started covering quantum back in 2025. Again, a lot of years with quantum. It was research and development, but tremendous progression with these companies these last years. And overall, when you do just look at the markets right now, again, this is just my belief, never financial advice. I do believe that there is a rotation currently going back into technology. And when we look at the semiconductors, those have been going crazy most recently. One of our favorite plays, advanced micro devices, has been seeing some hyper bullish momentum most recently. And then any gamma on iShares Silver. Well, Stephanie Diaz, stick around. If you're new here, Stephanie's not new here. She's here for most of the live streams. But if you are new here, we always first cover the stocks for the earnings report. You know what we're talking about here, quantum. Afterwards, we do open up the chat and we can discuss some other plays, whether you're interested in silver, such as Stephanie is here, other AI plays, or technology. IonQ price target by the end of the year. Well, I do believe that IonQ did release earnings on May 6th. They did come out and crush on expectations. Right now, IonQ is at 56.94. Let's just do a quick technical analysis on IonQ and see how IonQ is looking. There's Bitcoin there on screen. How is everybody doing with their cryptocurrency? Do I have any crypto bulls in the chat? Drop it in the live stream. I would love to know. It looks like IonQ had a nice day today. What I love about the quantum sector, all the different plays, is right now we are well down from the 52-week highs in quantum. So IonQ, not quite a double back to that 52-week high, but I could definitely see IonQ breaking through these levels. In general, I am very bullish on all of technology for this year because there's a lot of hype and momentum around it. Again, a rotation going back into technology, and that may be because this week is not only quantum week, but also this week is the Fed week. We are expected to see Jerome Powell officially leave and have Kevin Warsh be the new chairman. And if the new chairman does do what President Trump wants, which is cut, and print, baby, print, we could see a lot of hyper momentum, especially in these quantum plays. So I could see IonQ reaching well above these 52-week highs and even higher. I don't want to give an exact price target right now, but what I will say is if you are investing into quantum right now, you are investing when things are a lot lower and beat down. Because if we do get hyper bullish momentum in the markets, if we do break through a lot of these 52-week highs, which I don't see why we can't, we are at all-time highs on the major indexes right now. Well, these stocks right now can go a lot higher. And this is a beautiful time and opportunity, in my opinion. Again, QUBT at just $10. I consider this to be a great price in QBT. Rigetti falling slightly through this level of support. But again, there is a lot of call volume right here at 20. So the dealers may want to see a lot of these calls expire worthless. Again, let's see how accurate these levels are that I have drawn out, because time after time with these earnings reports now, we've seen it 3 times pretty accurate with Big Bear AI, with SoundHound AI, and with Robinhood. These levels do act as major magnets of support and resistance, what I consider to be the most true levels of support and resistance. And then Rigetti Patel, my friend, my dog on YouTube again. Hey, Rigetti, wow, it is amazing to see you here. For Rigetti Patel, saying this to my friend, thank you for joining us on the live stream. My YouTube journey actually started, what is insane to say, I'm 28 now. I started my YouTube journey back when I was like 13 years old, and Rigetti Patel, one of my longest friends, one of my longtime friends. I have known Rigetti Patel all the way since childhood. We started making YouTube videos all the way back when we were like 12 to 13. So that is amazing to see here, Rigetti Patel. And I just want to say in general, because we are focused on quantum computing today and computers, it's absolutely incredible what this technology is right here. And the computer and the internet and all of this in general is mind-blowing to me, because with quantum computing, you know, there's so many different use case scenarios to quantum, but one of them, it does help with some of the storage needs that we have. There is so much storage within the internet right now with artificial intelligence, with all of the data. It's absolutely incredible. It's great to see you here again, Rigetti, because the videos that we created back when we were 12 and 13, those are still on the internet today, as well as everything else on the internet. So it's crazy when you really think about how much is stored within the internet, how much data, how much knowledge we can bring to ourselves. You know, when we talk about the information age of technology, sometimes we take it for granted how amazing it really is, because you could go onto Google or Chat GPT and you could just type in a simple question. You could even type in a typo. Sometimes what you type in doesn't even make sense, but the artificial intelligence, the computing system, these search softwares, they're able to figure out what you're saying and give you real-time results. Just think, at one point in human history, you had to go to a library and get your information. Now you never have to do that. You could do it all from your palm. The power that is within our palms is absolutely incredible. And Rigetti already has released. So if you just joined us, Flazer, they did just release here moments ago. In my opinion, they did come out with a great earnings. I thought they did great. They beat on Wall Street's estimates. And also they're talking about a big $100 million investment out in the United Kingdom. Now I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so we haven't even looked at QUBT. So let's see how QUBT did. QUBT reported first quarter revenue of 3.7 million, up from 39,000. Again, look at that tremendous progression there year over year. That is absolutely explosive in Q1 of 2025, mainly from the Luminar Semiconductor and Nucrypt acquisitions. QCI recorded a net loss of 4.1 million, 2 cents per share. Let's see how that came in up next to the Wall Street estimates. And so we're looking at IonQ. Let's get back down here to QBT, QUBT. So the Wall Street expectations were at 3.27 million. They came in at 3.7 million. Wow, another beat for this quantum computing stock. I believe that the momentum could just be beginning. Again, look at these major levels of gamma. Again, it's crazy how accurate gamma could be and how it could really act as such a price magnet. Again, I talk a lot about options contracts. So if you are new here, my passion with the stock market, I do invest into some shares. I do have a long-term portfolio, all of that great stuff, but also I love to play with the speculation of the options contracts. And oftentimes we will look at the weekly option expiration where the expo is for the week. And so often these massive levels of gamma can act as real price price magnets. But if we do start to break past this, if we do get to 1050, if we do get to 11, we could really start to push into some new levels. So again, major levels of support and resistance right now, both holding at the major levels of gamma. QBT right at 10 and Rigetti right at 20. At the worst case scenario, I could see Rigetti dropping slightly below 19 if the bears do get their way, if we do see a lot of those options go under. But overall, again, positive what we are seeing right now. Again, a little bit of a sell-off. Wall Street can be a spoiled brat. Crazy. We just saw both of these companies meet and beat these expectations, coming out with great news, yet they are still having a hard time with the movement right now. So the positive for QBT, revenue grew 3.7 million from 39,000. Again, that is incredible year-over-year growth. Ended March 31st with 1.4 billion in cash and equivalents. This is what I'm saying with these quantum stocks. There has been a lot of funding to get to this point, but now these companies have a ton of cash on their balance sheet. So in the past, there has been dilution with these stocks, but will there be more dilution in the future? Well, there's always that possibility, but with so much cash on the balance sheet, this takes off any constraints on these companies to really need a lot of capital. So that is incredible. Closed the Luminar Semiconductor acquisition in all cash. Let's go. Deal valued at 110 million, and then reported contract backlog of approximately 16 million as of March 31st. All of that is incredible to see. If you guys don't know, by the way, QUBT has a quantum photonic chip foundry out here in Tempe, Arizona. Another reason why I love QUBT, because they are out here in Tempe, Arizona, just like I am. This is a beautiful place. If you've never been to Arizona, I definitely recommend it, but get here maybe when the winter comes back, because look, right now it is 105 degrees. Woo! It is getting hot out there. The negatives for QUBT, operating expenses rose to 19.8 million, up 139% from 8.3 million year over year. To me, again, I'm not worried about this. This company is making a ton of revenue, a lot of progress going on with the quantum sector right now. Q1 2026 net loss of 4.1 million versus prior year net income of 17 million. Cash equivalents, and investments declined from 1.5 million at the end of year 2025 to 1.4 billion. But it does look like they did make a big acquisition, and really that's funny how that is a negative. I guess it's technically a negative, but only losing 0.1 there, that is really of no concern. That is massive how well the company is doing right now. Total liabilities increased by 2.7 million to 23.4 million as of March 31st, 2026. Well, there is those factors of the liabilities, some of the cash that they have had to spend, some of the research and development that is still going on. But what I see with this is just progression. It's similar to like how people talk about the national debt. So many are always worried about the 39 trillion that the US government has. But if you think about it in MMT, modern monetary theory, well, you could see it just as a way of expansion with the long-term debt rising. Well, so is all of the progression, the assets, everything like that. We could be going into a crazy time of inflation again soon. I am expecting for us to start seeing the money helicopter drop a lot of money. If you didn't see my live stream yesterday, again, we go live every single Sunday before the markets open up. We just talked about what we could expect for this upcoming week. And again, this is not only quantum week, but also Fed week. And I am expecting for that money helicopter to start raining down once again. And this picture with Jerome Powell cranking that money printer will soon be Kevin Warsh, the new federal chairman. Also, if you've never joined us, again, I do like to talk about the stocks and the assets, but also I like to provide some fun. We always like to look at some memes here. Sometimes we will watch different clips. And so just some of the memes that we have right now, again, a lot of macro guys are furious because of what we have been seeing with the markets most recently. We have been seeing the markets push to new all-time highs despite the feelings of of many who are looking at the high inflation, many who are looking at the rising oil costs. And what pisses off so many is it's some Truth Social posts and the tacos coming from our president that has been pushing the markets up. So I like this meme right here, the entire market. There's Trump holding it up. And then this is how many of us will feel if these quantum stocks really start to rip. You've changed. Yeah, the market is up 3.86%. But for us quantum investors, that is nothing because, again, whoa, look at Rigetti. Let's go. Woo, look at that. Boom, push that candlestick up. Push, push, push. Yeah, it's a party here in quantum. Well, anyway, that's what I was just saying. Perfect time with the meme. Us investors for these quantum plays, we're not just looking at 3.8%. No. We're looking at hundreds of percent of ROI. Let's go, baby. I thought it was now. Well, we'll have the earnings call here in just a couple minutes. Again, if you didn't see the results, Flazer, we did go through them. They have officially already came out, but the earnings call comes here in 5 minutes for QBT, and then for Rigetti, they are going to have their earnings at 2 o'clock. So my question to everybody here, the event is now live. They should be reporting here audio, but with QBT, if their earnings does go over 30 minutes, do you guys want me to stick with this earnings with QBT or go over to Rigetti? I really would like, yes, let's go. Be patient. This fella right here wrote this at 105 before all the massive movements that we have seen. So it looks like Rigetti initially had this sell-off below the level of support that we drew out, the gamma exposure level, and then boom, popping back up. QBT, let's go. Woo! Yeah, that is so exciting. Look at that right there. QBT having a big push up. We got to play a money song right now because we are seeing a big earnings for both of these. For any of my WWE fans, here's a classic. Let me know if you know the song. I'll only play it for a second or else I'm going to get copyrighted. But I love to play this when I'm seeing gains within the portfolio. Another massive day across the market. But here comes the money. Money. Woo! This is exciting, guys. This is so much fun. And then I know it's nerve-wracking. Well, hopefully your nerves have calmed down, my friend. IonQ, meaning IonQ best quantum stock. By the way, there's Quantinium coming out here soon. So we do have an IPO for quantum coming out. Quantinium is what it is, and that is through Honeywell. So let's take a look. So Quantinium files for initial public offering as quantum stocks gain popularity, and I believe the popularity is only going to grow as the year goes on. Again, we are so early in quantum. If you truly don't understand, I really recommend picking up this book, Michio Kaku, Quantum Supremacy. Go get it. It talks about the history of computers, of quantum, of everything. What are you guys waiting for, guys? What time does it come out? Already came out, but we have the earnings report here, the actual earnings call with QBT here in just a couple of minutes. And then it looks like we have a longtime subscriber, Beeline. Thank you so much, Poet Technologies, for the win. I absolutely agree with you guys. Another play that can have a big run up, possibly here in 2026, will be Poet Technology. So give me just a second, guys, and I'm going to pull up Poet here. So again, on this channel, we love to look at technology, and we really love plays that have been undiscovered to most of the population. Poet right now has a $1.6 billion market cap. This company also Photonic Technology. Poet having a massive day. So Beeline, I want to thank you. Because of you, I did do some research on Poet, and I have a small investment currently in Poet Technologies. I just entered into it on Friday with a very small position. Had I known it was going to have a rally like today, I would have invested even more. But these may just be the early beginnings of Poet Technology. Again, this photonic technology could really change the game, help to save energy, and this is massive. Poet Technologies, again, at just a $1.6 billion market cap, not even 2 billion on the market cap. And we've just started to see some momentum in Poet. So definitely this is a longer investment for me. Thank you, Beeline, so much for letting me know about Poet. This is why I love the Green Money Momentum family, the Green Money Momentum community, because we are all able to communicate with each other and we are all able to grow as investors. And for everybody who is here for the first time, I do want to let everybody know right now, I am building out my website, which is greenmoneymomentum.com. Incredible, again, the use case scenario with AI, because so far everything with this website has been built with AI. I still have a lot to do. The homepage, again, it's just a placeholder, but I did officially start to do some things yesterday. So if you want to contact me, just have a discussion one-on-one, feel free to fill out the form on contact. Soon I will have a chat room for all of us. You can open up a membership here on my website. Right now, I am the one and only member, but just know that if you are supporting this channel, I am an organic guy. So myself, I am working on this channel every single day. I have done everything with the thumbnails, the live streams, the videos, everything like that. And I am expanding this channel. So I just also created an Instagram for Green Money Momentum. I am on once again on x.com, which I really don't look at too much. And then also here on Facebook. And then of course, what you guys are watching right now on YouTube. So in my opinion, well, not just my opinion, I'm the guy who's doing all this. I know these are the early days of Green Money Momentum, just like the early quantum, which we're about to get this earnings call here in just a second. So let me switch over so I can get the audio. Then I'm going to take a look here at the chat because I am quite behind. But let me know, guys, if you want to stick here with the QCI earnings call for the entire length of it. We'll switch over to Rigetti once we officially reach that 2 o'clock mark. Isn't it normal? That is not exact on time, first time. So is this good? Yes, very good. QBT, double B, EPS. Guys, please say that this is good. So heavy into Rigetti, my friend. Hell yes. Right now, it's looking good. If we do just look at how these stocks are performing right now, boom, again, getting through some major levels of gamma. Rigetti right now at $20.33, having a lot of volatility. QBT, the same at $10.37. Woo! The party is just getting started, guys. As we know, these earning calls are a two-part scenario. We first have the official release, and then after that, we do have the earnings call, which just started on QCI. So now I will be quiet and we'll all listen in to what they have to say. Thank you again to everyone who is here.
Thank you. And I want to welcome everyone to the Quantum Computing Inc. First Quarter 2026 Shareholder Update Call. Before we begin, please note that today's remarks may include forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995, including statements regarding expected results, operational plans, strategy, and market opportunities. These statements are made pursuant to the safe harbor provisions of Section 27A of the Securities Act and Section 21E of the Exchange Act and are based on current assumptions and expectations. Forward-looking statements are neither promises nor guarantees and involve risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially. Important factors are discussed in our annual report on Form 10-K for the year ended December 31st, 2025, and in subsequent SEC filings, including the quarterly report on Form 10-Q for the quarter ended March 31st, 2026. We undertake no obligation to update these statements except as required by law. On the call today, we have Dr. Yuping Huang, Chief Executive Officer and Chairman, and Chris Roberts, Chief Financial Officer. The team will provide an update on the business, followed by a question and answer session. With that, I would now like to turn the call over to management. Please go ahead, Yuping.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for Quantum Computing Inc.'s First Quarter 2026 earnings call. We made meaningful progress in the first quarter of 2026, executing on our strategic initiatives and furthering our mission of delivering accessible, scalable, and cost-effective quantum machines and photonic solutions for practical use across high-growth markets that include high-performance computing, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, aerospace and defense, and advanced sensing and imaging. We completed 2 key transactions during the quarter, closing the acquisitions of Lumina Semiconductor Inc. and NuCrypt LLC. Lumina Semiconductor, which I will refer to as LSI going forward, represents a significant milestone in QCI's strategy to build a vertically integrated, product-driven photonics and quantum technology platform. LSI brings established capabilities in lasers, detectors, advanced packaging, and testing, has a strong photonics customer base, and has broad R&D and manufacturing capabilities that we believe strengthens our ability to move from small batch to higher volume production. Included in LSI's portfolio are 3 key subsidiaries. The first is Freedom Photonics. Freedom Photonics is a leading-edge R&D and manufacturing facility that provides unique photonic components, modules, and systems, and is recognized for world-class semiconductor laser technology, with approximately 25 issued and pending patents. The second is EM4. EM4 is a Class 10,000 certified humidity-controlled cleanroom facility and a leading provider of subsystem design and manufacturing, offering comprehensive photonic and fiber optical module solutions. The EM4 facility is a major supplier to several U.S. government programs and the European defense and space markets. And finally, Optogration has a chip manufacturing facility and a device assembly and testing facility specialized in design, assembling, testing, and low-volume component production. We are currently integrating LSI, and we're excited to onboard their experienced team of operators, engineers, and scientists to expand our depth of talent and execution capacity. We're focused on serving and expanding LSI's existing client base and utilizing their technology and the products to drive quantum commercialization in our target markets. The second acquisition completed in the quarter is NuCrypt. NuCrypt's primary patent portfolio spans quantum optics, RF photonics, and photonic signal processing, which can generate, measure, and distribute entangled photons over fiber optical cables. Organizations such as NASA, the U.S. Army Research Lab, and the major global research universities and customers have used NuCrypt's technology. NuCrypt's suite of quantum communications systems and products will enable us to further advance our technology roadmap while fostering our product and solutions portfolio with the goal of further improving the performance, robustness, and scalability of our technology. We announced a key partnership with Quantum Corridor, which placed a QCI Dirac-3 quantum optimization machine on Quantum Corridor's network, an interstate quantum-safe commercial communication network in North America. The optimization machine is intended to provide enhanced, secure, and on-demand Dirac-3 access for institutions and commercial customers on Quantum Corridor's network. We believe this is the first data center installation of a Dirac-3 machine and the first installation of its kind in a commercial data center environment. This collaboration marked a significant step forward in our commercial deployment strategy, expanding practical access to a quantum infrastructure for both academic and enterprise users, and reflecting our commercial strategy to make high-performance quantum solutions readily available in IT ecosystems. On the foundry front, our Teflon chip R&D and manufacturing facility in Tempe, Arizona, also known as our Fab 1, has been ramping up small batch manufacturing. The foundry's capabilities include nanofabrication and inspection, multi-physics simulation, in-house design and dicing, and prototype packaging. While the facility has begun generating early revenue, it's important to know that its primary use is as a research and development facility. We are actively in the planning phase and assessing options for a Fab 2 facility, a second, much larger foundry which can support higher volume production to extend our long-term manufacturing capacity and enable widespread deployment of quantum-powered hardware. It is our intent that Fab 2 facility will be where quantum manufacturing becomes scalable. We look forward to keeping you apprised concerning our Fab 2 strategy and the timelines as it progresses. We have made progress on our technology roadmap as we work toward our commercial strategy of bringing quantum products to a broad market. By evolving from a technology innovator into a full-scale manufacturer capable of delivering quantum-enabled systems at industrial scale. It is becoming increasingly clear that we are well positioned in the marketplace. We believe we have strong quantum optics and integrated photonics foundation that enables affordable and deployable quantum hardware. By focusing on quantum photonics, our technology has the ability to operate at room temperature, dramatically reducing system footprint, complexity, cost, and power requirements. We're following a strategy focused on manufacturing built for scale as we further refine our Fab 1 facility and advance planning on Fab 2. And finally, we believe we are getting traction across strategic partnerships and government collaboration. Our guiding principles of practicality first, scalability by design, accessibility for all, and innovation with a purpose remain at the core of everything we do as we build the future of quantum for everyone. I will now turn the call over to Chris Roberts, our Chief Financial Officer, to discuss our first quarter 2026 financials.
Thank you, Yuping. I'm pleased to announce that revenue for the first quarter totaled $3.7 million compared to $39,000 in the prior year quarter. The year-over-year increase in revenue was driven primarily by the acquisition of Luminar Semiconductor in early February, and to a lesser extent, revenue from the acquisition of NuCrypt in early March. Excluding the LSI and NuCrypt contributions, QCI revenue for the first quarter totaled $204,000, consisting primarily of deliveries of foundry orders and work on an R&D subcontract for NASA. Operating expenses for the first quarter totaled $19.8 million compared to $8.3 million in the same quarter last year. The increase in operating expenses was due to a substantial increase in staff, including administrative, technicians, engineering, and scientific, which resulted in increased R&D expenses, product development, and sales and marketing expenses. $7 million in the prior year, increasing primarily as a result of employee compensation costs, customer lead generation activities, trade show participation, advertising, and other marketing and selling costs. General and administrative expenses for the quarter were $11.3 million compared to $4.6 million in the prior year, increasing primarily due to substantial M&A transaction expenses in the quarter for the new QUBT and LSI transactions. We reported a net loss of $4.1 million for the first quarter, or 2 cents per share, compared to net income of $17 million in the first quarter of 2025, or 13 cents per share. To put this change in the proper context, as previously reported, the $17 million net income in the first quarter of 2025 was primarily attributable to a $23.6 million non-cash gain on the mark-to-market of the company's derivative liability, which relates to warrants issued for our merger with QPhoton in June of 2022. Our balance sheet continues to be strong. We reported cash equivalents, and investments of $1.4 billion at March 31, 2026, compared to $1.5 billion at December 31, 2025. Interest income in the first quarter of 2026 was $13.5 million, up from $1.7 million in the prior year period. At March 31, 2026, total assets were $1.6 billion, relatively unchanged compared to December 31 of 2025. Stockholders' equity was also $1.6 billion at March 31, 2026. Again, essentially unchanged compared to year-end 2025. Our contract backlog as of March 31 was strong at $16 million. And now I'll turn the call back over to you, Ping.
Thank you, Chris. As we move through the remainder of the year, so we are intensely focused on investing in our team across engineering, research, and production, converting a growing pipeline of commercial and government engagement into recurrent revenue, strengthening our fabrication capabilities, and executing on both organic and inorganic growth opportunities to drive long-term value creation. We have a very strong balance sheet and healthy backlog, and we are energized by the path in front of us as we continue advancing our mission of putting quantum-enabled solutions into the hands of people. As always, thank you for your ongoing support. We look forward to keeping you apprised of our progress as we continue to move through the year. With that, we will now open the call for the questions.
Thank you. At this time, we'll be conducting a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press star two if you would like to remove your question from the queue.
Yeah, so hey, Mike.
Participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. One moment, please, while we pull for questions. And the first question today is coming from John McPeake from Rosenblatt Securities. John, your line is live.
Oh, thank you. And congrats on completing the acquisitions, Chris and Yuping.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
One question kind of works into two. Where are we with the R&D effort on the next Dirac and then also your gate-based quantum computer? Maybe you could just talk a little bit about that, Yuping.
Yep, we have made very good progress on the next version of the Dirac machine. In fact, we are in the phase of internal testing, and in fact, every day, so when I come to the lab, people are telling me some exciting new results. I hope that we will be able to complete the last steps and put this in front of some early users. This is on the Dirac machines. For the gate-based, we are making good progress on two fronts. One front is that we'll continue our engineering designs so that we can push up our gate fidelity on the theoretical front. And now, as we talked before, John, so we actually have spent quite a few years on this, and we believe that we figured everything out on the theoretical and engineering side to construct gate-based machine. On the other hand, to realize photon-photon interaction gates, it's crucial for us to get extremely high quality photonic circuits in thin-film lithium niobate based on our patent technology. So on the fab side, we have made a good progress in optimizing our recipe so that we can meet those very high requirements for the photons to interact strongly with each other. So yeah, on the gate-based machines, we have made good progress, but there is still some way ahead of us for us to test our prototypes. We have not started to make the prototypes yet. Instead, we are testing our photonic integrated circuits at this time.
Well, that modality looks like it's the other companies that are attempting to produce gate-based photonic computers. You know, they're talking a fair ways out, right? Because of the technology issues you're talking about. Do you feel like you'll be in the mix when other companies are starting to deliver theirs?
Let
sort
me
of
put
29.
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me put it this way, John. So we chose our gate-based approach to be scalable. So instead of trying to demonstrate some proof of concept, from the very beginning, we have designed our gate-based machines so that once we can test the principle on the prototype, we can quickly scale up in terms both of the gate circuit depth and the number of qubits. So right now, we are looking at overcoming the last final hurdle on the engineering side, and with that overcome, so we should be able to quickly ramp up. So this is why, although we started relatively later than some other players on this gate-based machine, but I'm confident that as we figure out the final steps of engineering, so we can quickly catch up. And remember that the advantage of our approach is that it's very scalable and it runs at room temperature, and everything is chip integrated.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing more in the future. Thank you. I'll get back in the queue.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. The next question is coming from Max Michaelis from Lake Street Capital. Max, your line is live.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my questions. Just a few. Thanks for sharing some of the data around backlog. So that was 16 million at the end of the quarter. Is there any way you can give us sort of any insight on how that's trended now that we're a little deeper into Q2? I know you guys aren't giving specific guidance, but maybe a little bit help on how that backlog's trended throughout the past couple of weeks.
Well, what we're finding, Max, is that the combination of the companies Some of the risk that was associated with the Luminar bankruptcy has dissipated. We are pursuing a lot of there's nothing I can specifically announce today, but what I will say is that we are seeing a pickup in our business development activity and the pipeline, and I think we'll have a lot more going forward. But yes, the reaction of the market has been positive, and our sales activity reflects that.
Awesome. And then last one from me. So Luminar and then NewCrypt for the two acquisitions. Give us an idea on what some of the areas you guys are probably headed towards next. Probably can't share a lot, but give us sort of an idea on what's kind of at the top of mind for you guys in terms of importance in filling out your platform.
Yeah, I can answer this question, Max. I have announced that over the next few years, we focus on transition from a tech innovation company to a volume production company. So we have been very happy with the acquisition of Luminar Semi and the NewCrypt. Depth and also the breadth of the technology engineering and the manufacturing capabilities. Going forward, so we will continue to execute our roadmap as we published on our website last year. So we are looking to execute our Fab 2 plan. And I did make a promise that we will get our Fab 2 started, and this is what we're focusing on now. And it looks like we have some pretty exciting development on that front as well. So we hope to keep the community updated on that as we make progress.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Max.
And once again, it will be *1 on your phone at any time if you wish to ask a question today. And the next question is coming from Antoine Legault from Wedbush Securities. Antoine, your line is live.
Thank you, and thanks for taking my questions. And to add on to what Max was asking about LSI and NewCrypt, just on those integrations, you mentioned these companies will bring established capabilities in lasers, detectors, advanced packaging, and broad R&D manufacturing capabilities. Can you give us a sense of the financial synergies, and more importantly, just the technical synergies that you expect to realize with these two recent acquisitions, and just how are the integrations coming along? If you can share a bit more on that, thank you.
The question on the tech synergy, and Chris can answer the financial synergy. So on the tech side, as we discussed in the past, our goal is to develop complete quantum product and solutions. And for such, we needed to have not only our core quantum nonlinear optical technology and circuits, but also photonics products and the controlling electronics, for example. With Luminar Semi, so they have very strong thing on the lasers, photodiodes, and on the optical packaging and the testing. We, in fact, have launched a handful of initiatives leveraging their team and manufacturing capabilities to advance our quantum device and the systems development. And in the meanwhile, so now we are working with them to develop and commercialize photonics for quantum. As many of you know, quantum technology requires some specialty photonic component and the circuits. And now we have a team who understand both photonics and quantum. So I think we are in a very unique position to provide solutions and become a supply for photonics for quantum. So this is
All right. So if you want to finish that live earnings call, I say just go to their website after all of this is done and you could see that. But we got to start the Rigetti call here in just 2 minutes. But a lot of bullish things being said from this QCI call. Again, they have a quantum photonics chip foundry out here in Tempe, Arizona. I have emailed them before. I want to one day get an inside look at going there. That would be amazing. It's like only down the road from me, but we have seen a massive push up. Woo! Let's go quantum. Let's go Tempe, Arizona, $12.38, a massive explosion. And I'm going to pull up a comment here. I probably lost it. You guys have been amazing today with the live chat. By the way, there is so many of you talking here. And by the way, Alex, congratulations on your gains. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Amazing that anyone who is a bull on quantum right now is making money. Look at that. Up about 30% QUBT at close to $12.40. This is massive. Well, the comment that I wanted to pull up is that we may be seeing a preview to the next earnings, which is incredible because we did draw out these levels of gamma exposure and we have absolutely exploded through, looking like a gamma squeeze here. And yes, I try to tell my friends too, Alex, but many of them don't listen. But hey, that's why you're the one making on your phone today, right? So let's go. We got the Rigetti call here in just a couple of minutes. Congratulations to everybody who has made gains today here on QUBT. A lot of bullish things again being said, a key partnership, the massive year-over-year revenue, and they're talking about ramping up the manufacturing out here in Tempe, Arizona, and even their underlying business before their acquisition of the Luminar Semiconductor. Before all of that, before their big acquisition of them, they still had massive progression, $204,000 the company earned.
At this time, all participants are on a listen-only mode. After the speaker's presentation, there will be a question and answer session. To ask a question during the session, you will need to press star 11 on your telephone keypad. As a reminder, this conference call is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Subodh Kulkarni, CEO of Rigetti. Sir, please begin.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for Rigetti's first quarter 2026 earnings conference call. I'm pleased to be joined today by our Chief Financial Officer, Jeff Bertelsen, who will walk you through our financial results in more detail following my overview. Also with us is our Chief Technology Officer, David Rivas, who will be available to participate in the Q&A session following our prepared remarks. We appreciate your continued interest in Rigetti, and we look forward to answering your questions at the conclusion of our remarks. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that today's call, along with our first quarter 2026 press release, contains forward-looking statements. These statements reflect our current expectations, objectives, and underlying assumptions regarding our outlook and future operating results. These forward-looking statements are subject to a number of risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from those anticipated. Such risks and uncertainties are described and discussed in greater detail in our filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including our Form 10-K for the year ended December 31st, 2025, our Form 10-Q for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2026, and other periodic reports filed by the company from time to time with the SEC. We encourage you to review these filings for a comprehensive discussion of these risks and uncertainties that could cause actual events and results to differ materially from those contained in the forward-looking statements. Rigetti undertakes no obligation to update any forward-looking statements made during this call, except as required by law. During today's call, we will refer to certain non-GAAP financial measures. For details on these measures and reconciliations to comparable GAAP measures, and for further information regarding the factors that may affect Rigetti's future operating results, Please refer to today's earnings release on Rigetti's website at investors.rigetti.com or to the 8-K furnished with the SEC today after the close. Before I begin, I want to frame today's discussion around 3 key takeaways. First, with the general availability of our 108-qubit Cepheus-1 108Q system on Rigetti Quantum Cloud Services, Amazon Braket, Microsoft Azure Quantum, and QBTS, we believe we have delivered one of the most powerful generally available quantum computers in the world and the largest modular quantum computing system on the market today. Second, we are seeing growing adoption of Rigetti systems across government, academic, and commercial customers, including new on-premises Novera QPU sales that support meaningful year-over-year revenue growth. Third, we remain focused on disciplined execution against our roadmap to quantum advantage, continuing to improve fidelity on Cepheus-1 108Q and advancing toward higher qubit, higher fidelity chiplet-based systems underpinned by a strong balance sheet and prudent capital deployment. Now I'll step back and put the quarter in context. Q1 was an important proof point in our strategy to combine technical progress with real-world use access and usage. Quantum computing remains a long cycle opportunity, but we are increasingly seeing the ecosystem coalesce around platforms that can scale in a practical way and that are available to users where they already run their workloads. Our progress this quarter reflects that reality. Let me start with our technology and product milestones. Last month, we announced the general availability of our 108-qubit Cepheus-1 108Q quantum computing system, accessible to customers via Rigetti Quantum Cloud Services and through Amazon Braket, the quantum computing service by AWS, as well as Microsoft's Azure Quantum Service and QBTS. Cepheus-1 108Q is our highest qubit count system to date and the industry's largest modular quantum computing system, built from 12 interconnected 9-qubit chiplets. This system triples the number of qubits and chiplets from our previous 36-qubit Cepheus-1 36Q system, and more importantly, validates our proprietary chiplet-based scaling architecture in a production setting. Today, Cepheus-1 108Q has achieved a median 2-qubit gate fidelity of approximately 99.1%, with gate speeds of roughly 60 nanoseconds and a median single qubit gate fidelity of 99.9%. These are meaningful performance levels at this scale, and we expect to continue improving fidelity throughout 2026 as we refine the performance of our individual chiplets, innovate across materials and fabrication, and incorporate learnings from our prototype and R&D platforms. We achieved a median 99.8% 2-qubit gate fidelity with 40 nanosecond gate speeds on our 9-qubit system by using a proprietary adiabatic CZ gate scheme. Leveraging the same gate scheme, we also demonstrated 2-qubit gate fidelities as high as 99.9% at 28 nanosecond gate speeds on a prototype system, and those advancements are informing how we operate Cepheus-1 108Q and design future systems. From a systems engineering perspective, this launch is about more than just adding qubits. During development, we identified and mitigated coupling interactions between T-level couplers that become more pronounced beyond the 100-qubit scale. By refining our chip architecture to address those interactions, we effectively shifted the primary performance limitation from coupler behavior to coherence time, which we are confident we can address as we continue to optimize our entire stack. I also want to highlight what this means for users. With Cepheus-1 108Q now available on Rigetti QCS, Amazon Braket, Microsoft Azure Quantum, and QBTS, researchers and enterprises can access our highest qubit count system on platforms they already use for classical and quantum R&D. Cepheus-1 108Q is the first gate-based device on Amazon Braket with more than 100 qubits, offering improved fidelities that enable wider and deeper circuits for applications such as material science, optimization, and quantum simulation. AWS is a leader in cloud infrastructure, so extending our relationship with Amazon Braket and now Azure Quantum and QBRAID, is an important validation of our technology and our go-to-market strategy. Stepping back, we continue to believe that superconducting gate-based quantum computing with chiplet-based scaling offers a compelling combination of speed and scalability. Our current systems achieve gate speeds on the order of 50 to 70 nanoseconds, which is roughly 1,000 times faster than some other alternative modalities such as trapped ion or neutral atom systems. As we scale, we intend to maintain those speed advantages while driving fidelity higher and integrating error correction ready gate operations into the stack. Let me now turn to customer momentum and market traction. Our strategy is to meet customers where they are, whether that is on the public cloud, on hybrid infrastructure, or in dedicated quantum centers. On the cloud side, the combination of Rigetti QCS, Amazon Braket, Microsoft Azure Quantum, and QBRAID provides global access to our systems, including CPS 1108Q, and we are seeing strong interest from researchers who want to experiment on one of the most capable generally available gate-based platforms in the market today. In parallel, we continue to expand our base of on-premises Novera QPUs. The Novera QPU is designed to integrate into a customer's existing cryogenic and control systems, providing a high-performance on-premises platform for quantum R&D. Recent Novera wins include an order from the University of Saskatchewan, where our QPU will support quantum research and education, and we have also announced Novera QPU and Novera system sales to additional research organizations globally. These on-premises systems deepen technical engagement, create multi-year usage pathways, and showcase the flexibility of our product portfolio from 9 to more than 100 qubits. As discussed in our prior call, Novera and other system deliveries contribute to significant year-over-year growth, albeit with some variability quarter to quarter based on shipment timing and contract mix. For example, we expect a meaningful portion of previously announced Novera purchase orders to be recognized in the first half of 2026, and we are executing on additional system-level contracts, such as the CDAC order we announced earlier this year. While the timing of revenue recognition can move between quarters, these contracts underscore growing demand for Rigetti QPUs and systems among national labs, universities, and quantum computing centers. We are also encouraged by continued engagement from commercial customers who are exploring quantum-inspired and hybrid use cases. While commercial revenue remains early, we are seeing increased interest from industries such as materials, logistics, and financial services as they look to understand where quantum computing can augment classical high-performance computing over time. More broadly, we are starting to see tangible examples of how even relatively small-scale quantum systems can impact real-world workloads. For example, a team in China recently demonstrated that a 9-qubit quantum system could outperform classical reservoir networks with thousands of nodes on a realistic weather forecasting task, highlighting how modest-sized quantum devices can begin to disrupt AI and modeling applications. We view results like this as early validation of the commercial opportunities that systems like our Novera QPUs and CPS-class devices are positioned to address as they mature. Let me briefly connect this back to our long-term roadmap. We remain focused on a clear sequence of milestones that we believe positions Rigetti to reach quantum advantage in roughly 3 years. Near term, that means driving CPS 1108Q to a median 2-qubit gate fidelity of approximately 99.5% later this year, while maintaining our gate speed advantages. Beyond that, we are working toward deploying systems that leverage our chiplet-based architecture as the foundation for eventually scaling more than 1,000 qubits with fidelities and gate speeds that support error-mitigated and ultimately fault-tolerant computation. In support of this roadmap, we recently announced our intention to invest up to $100 million in the United Kingdom over the next several years to accelerate quantum computing development. This will be our first major investment outside the United States and builds on our existing 36-qubit system deployment at the UK's National Quantum Computing Centre, as well as UK government's multi-billion-dollar commitment to quantum technologies. In parallel, we continue to collaborate with partners such as Riverlane and others to integrate error correction-ready capabilities into the stack. This includes support for high-fidelity native gates, improved circuit compilation, and control electronics enhancements that are designed to be compatible with future error-corrected architectures. Our intention is to update our published technology roadmap later this year once we have incorporated operational data from CPS 1108Q and can provide more detail on the specific steps we expect to take toward quantum advantage. Turning to the financial framework, our approach remains straightforward and disciplined. We exited last year with a strong cash position and no debt, giving us the flexibility to continue investing behind our technology roadmap and customer opportunities. Our spending remains concentrated in core R&D, including fabrication, chip design, and control electronics development, along with the CapEx required to support higher qubit count systems and associated cryogenics infrastructure. While this results in elevated CapEx in the near term, we believe these investments are directly tied to the capabilities that will differentiate Rigetti in the market. We are not managing the business around short-term revenue optimization. We are managing it around credible progress toward large-scale, high-fidelity quantum systems that can deliver commercially meaningful value. To that end, our capital allocation remains focused on organic execution, and we will consider M&A only where we can clearly accelerate our roadmap without compromising our financial discipline. To close my remarks before turning it over to Jeff, I want to reiterate the three key messages we hope you take away from today's call. First, CPS 1108Q is now generally available through Rigetti QCS, Amazon Braket, Microsoft Azure Quantum, and QBRAID, and we believe it represents one of the most powerfully generally available gate-based quantum computers in the world and the largest modular system on the market today. Second, customer adoption continues to build across cloud and on-premises channels with Novera sales and other contracts supporting strong year-over-year revenue growth and deepening our engagement with leading research institutions and emerging commercial users. Third, we remain committed to disciplined execution on a roadmap that targets quantum advantage in about 3 years, anchored in our chiplet-based architecture, high-speed superconducting qubits, improving fidelity, a strong balance sheet, and strategic initiatives such as our planned $100 million UK investment that enables us to invest with patience and control. Thank you for your continued support and interest in Rigetti. I'll now turn the call over to our CFO, Jeff Bertelsen, who will walk you through our financial results in more detail.
Thank you, Subodh, and good afternoon, everyone. I will spend a few minutes walking through our first quarter 2026 financial results, our balance sheet, and how we are thinking about capital deployment as we continue to execute on the roadmap Subodh described. For the first quarter of 2026, revenue was $4.4 million, compared to $1.5 million in the first quarter of 2025. The year-over-year increase was driven primarily by on-premises Novera QPU deliveries and related contracts, as well as certain government and research projects. Gross margin for the first quarter was 31%, compared to approximately 30% in the first quarter of 2025. Our first quarter 2026 gross margin was impacted by contract mix, including a higher contribution from QPU and system deliveries that include lower margin third-party refrigeration. Total operating expenses for the first quarter were $27.3 million, compared to $22.1 million in the same period last year. Spending remains concentrated in research and development, including engineering headcount, fabrication, and system integration, consistent with the priorities we outlined on our fourth quarter call. Stock-based compensation for the quarter was $5.9 million, compared to $4.2 million in the first quarter of 2025. Operating loss for the first quarter was $26 million, compared to an operating loss of $21.6 million in Q1 2025. On a GAAP basis, net income for the first quarter of 2026 was $33.1 million, compared to net income of $42.6 million in the prior year period. The first quarter of 2026 included $53.7 million of non-cash gains from the change in fair value of derivative warrant and earnout liabilities, compared to $62.1 million in the prior year period. As a reminder, these non-cash fair value adjustments can introduce significant volatility into our GAAP results quarter to quarter and do not affect how we operate the business or allocate capital. On a non-GAAP basis, which excludes stock-based compensation and fair value adjustments to warrant and earnout liabilities, net loss for the quarter was $14.7 million, or 4 cents per diluted share, compared to a non-GAAP net loss of approximately $15.3 million, or 5 cents per diluted share in the first quarter of 2025. Let me provide a bit more color on revenue drivers and how we're thinking about the remainder of the year. As we outlined in our fourth quarter call, we expected strong year-over-year revenue growth in the first quarter of 2026, driven by shipment of a portion of the $5.7 million of on-premises Novera quantum computing system purchase orders announced late last year. The first quarter results are consistent with that view, and we continue to expect the remaining Novera revenue to be recognized primarily in the second quarter of 2026. We also continue to execute on the $8.4 million CDAC order for an on-premises 108 qubit system in India, which we expect to recognize in the fourth quarter of 2026 following installation and performance acceptance testing. As we said last quarter, the initial CDAC order did not include ongoing maintenance and support. We still expect to receive a separate purchase order for those services. More broadly, our revenue profile continues to be influenced by the timing of system deliveries and government-funded projects. We continue to view this variability as inherent to the current stage of the market and not as a driver of our long-term capital allocation or technology strategy. Turning to the balance sheet, we ended the first quarter of 2026 with approximately $569 million in cash equivalents, and available for sale investments, compared with $209.1 million as of March 31, 2025, and approximately $589.8 million at the end of 2025. The year-over-year increase relative to Q1 2025 reflects the capital raised and strategic investment activity we have previously discussed, while the sequential decline from year-end reflects ongoing operating spend and capital expenditures. We continue to operate with no debt. At our current operating profile, we believe our capital position provides sufficient runway to execute against the technology and system deployment milestones we have laid out, including continued progress on scale, fidelity, and system integration, as well as our planned investment in the United Kingdom. Capital expenditures in the quarter were primarily driven by investments in Fab 1 and additional dilution refrigeration capacity to support higher qubit count systems over the next several years, consistent with the framework we outlined in the fourth quarter. We continue to expect 2026 CapEx to be elevated relative to prior years, largely due to refrigeration and infrastructure needs rather than major changes to our fab footprint. Our approach to capital deployment remains disciplined and consistent with what we have discussed on the Q4 call. The majority of our spending is directed toward core R&D activities that directly advance our technology platform, including our chiplet-based architecture, control systems, and cloud integration. We are not managing the business around short-term revenue optimization. Manage in commercially relevant systems. To close, our financial strategy is unchanged from what we outlined last quarter. We are focused on maintaining flexibility, funding innovation responsibly, and aligning capital deployment with the long-term value creation potential of our technology roadmap. While quarterly results will continue to reflect the early stage nature of the quantum computing market and the timing of large system contracts, we believe our balance sheet and capital discipline position us to execute with patience and control. With that, I will turn it back to the operator, who will open the call for your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question or comment at this time, please press star 11 on your telephone keypad. If your question has been answered or you wish to remove yourself from the queue, simply press star 11 again. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question or comment, please press star 11 on your telephone keypad. Please
Yes.
stand by while we compile the Q&A roster.
My question is, why is the stock not rising yet, right? We are
Our
here
first question or comment comes from the line of Brian Kinstlinger from Alliance Global Partners. Your line is now open.
Great. Thanks so much for taking my questions. I'll ask two. The first one is, can you talk about the announced NVIDIA quantum models, when you expect they might be available, and when you might begin to test them to see the impact it has on reducing your error rates?
Thanks, Brian. And NVIDIA did announce an open source model, NVIDIA Isync, to help out with calibration and bring up of quantum computers as well as error corrections. We continue to look at that as a possible means of accelerating our roadmap. We continue to talk to NVIDIA, and we also continue to talk to other partners in the industry, such as Riverlane in the UK, where we are partnering to do error correction. They're not replacements for each other. They can work in a complementary fashion. So certainly the announcement made by NVIDIA to help accelerate quantum computing in terms of calibration, bring up, but also error correction, we are taking a close look and will definitely take advantage of those tools that are available now. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, great. My follow-up, the $100 million investment in the UK, are those people, infrastructure, offices, and then will that be expensed or capitalized? And if it's expensed, when will we start to see that begin to increase the OPEX?
So let me put that UK investment in context. I mean, UK has announced a fairly ambitious program that they call Procure, where it's a multi-stage program. Right now, the first phase will kick off this July or August for a couple of years. The next phase that they call Mega QUBT will kick off at that time for another year or two, and then Giga QUBT and so on. A Mega QUBT means 1 million error-free quantum operations per second. Giga QUBT means 1 billion error-free quantum operations per second, and so on. So it's a very well-structured, laid-out program. Right now, applications are being requested. We will be one of them. Assuming we are chosen for the preliminary phase, we definitely plan to increase our headcount, so there will be additional people cost. We definitely plan to increase the number of quantum computers we have in the UK. Right now, if you visit the National Quantum Computing Centre outside Oxford in the UK, you will find our quantum computer in that center. But for the next phase, we definitely plan to include our Cepheus-1, like 108 qubit or higher qubit count quantum computers over there over the next couple of years as we make them available. So there will be some capital cost involved, but also facilities. I mean, right now, our quantum computer sits in the NQCC facility. We definitely plan to have, and we have a relatively small office in London right now. We definitely plan to have a bigger facility in the UK as we go forward. So the $100 million is over the next few years, but captures all the cost in the rough order of magnitude that we talked about so far. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, great, Subodh. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Our next question or comment comes from the line of Krish Sankar from TD Cowen. Your line is now open.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. Subodh, I just wanted to ask you on the integrated error mitigation. Is this on chip with the qubit gate, or is it a separate control chip? Is it ASIC or FPGA? Can you give some color on that?
Hey, Krish, are you talking about the NVIDIA specific announcement?
Yeah, the one you said about the integrated error mitigation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in general, right now, we don't do error correction on the quantum chip itself. There are approaches that are being looked at to do that kind of stuff. But right now, our quantum chip is not doing error correction on at the chip level. So most of the error correction and all the experiments we do are outside in the ambient conditions in the control systems area, and we are sending the signal.
You guys are so funny in the chat. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know what that guy said. That was really hard to hear what he said, the low quality mic and then the accent. That is so funny. But you guys are cracking me up in the chat. Thank you again to everybody who is here.
You're talking about the overall demand for QPUs in general, I assume. That's what your question is.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, as we mentioned, interest in quantum computing continues to increase rapidly. And as we start getting closer and closer to that quantum advantage, which we define roughly as 1000 qubit, 99.9%, 2 qubit gate fidelity, less than 50 nanosecond gate speed, and some form of error mitigation or control. And we roughly think that's about 3 years from now. Definitely, we are already starting to see increase in interest from not only academic and government national lab kind of customers, but also commercial customers who want to do quantum computing related R&D activities, not necessarily use them for their data center operations. We definitely expect that interest to continue to increase rapidly as we get closer to the quantum advantage milestone, roughly 3 years from now. And we're already starting to see that, as you can see in our disclosures and sales numbers. But overall, definitely expect quantum computing interest to increase, even though we are still in the R&D stages.
Thanks a lot, Subodh.
Thanks, Krish.
Thank you. Our next question or comment comes from the line of Quinn Bolton from Needham & Company. Mr. Bolton, your line is now open.
Thank you for taking the question. I guess, Subodh, just maybe a follow-up on Krish's question there, just with the adiabatic CZ process, that you're already showing on prototypes getting to 99.9% 2 qubit gate fidelity. How long does that take to get into process? It sounds like you're targeting that 99.9%, over a 3-year period that would be part of the system that gets you to quantum advantage. Why does it take so long to get there? Or, just what are the steps you need to bring that process from sort of a prototype level into kind of a higher, volume production level?
It's a good question, Quinn. I mean, we will obviously push as fast as possible to get adiabatic CZ and fast gates into higher scale systems. We are already using adiabatic CZ in our CPS 1108Q, but it's not a very fast gates adiabatic CZ that we have been able to get at the prototype stage. You're right, at the prototype stage, we have 99.9% with gate speeds of 28 nanoseconds. So you can see that our 108Q is still 2x slower than our prototype system, and fidelity is not as high as the prototype system. So we definitely take the learnings from the prototype system and try to include that in our larger scale systems as soon as possible. It just takes time. These are extremely complex problems to solve at scale. It's relatively easy to demonstrate on prototype stages. And that's why you see many announcements from many different organizations about quantum computing, and they're typically in the sub 10 qubit type level. It's only when you start getting to 100 qubit or above, and you hardly find 2 or 3 companies that have enabled quantum computers at that scale, and we are one of them. We are proud to be one of them with the 108Q system right now that is available for anyone to use. That's where the problems becomes quite significant to tackle and solve. So yeah, we have demonstrated very, very good performance with adiabatic CZ fast gates at a few qubit level. We need to take that learning and push it as fast as possible. Definitely, it will be part of the final system that will approach quantum advantage in 3 years. But I'm pretty sure it will be included much before that. Whatever we will start deploying next year and the year after that, we will definitely see adiabatic CZ and fast gates coming in there.
Got it. And then I guess a sort of related question, as you look to that system that gives you quantum advantage, would you expect that system to run quantum error correction, or would you still be thinking about implementation of on-chip quantum error correction sort of being out beyond the quantum advantage chip in 3-ish years?
It's a good question. There's a lot of TBD still right now. we touched upon earlier in the earlier question. I touched upon NVIDIA's icing model and how that could improve our roadmap, accelerate our roadmap. Our view right now is that the quantum advantage system, the roughly 1,000 qubit system at the 99.9% 2-qubit gate fidelity level, will use some form of error mitigation, not necessarily full-fledged quantum error correction, the way we envision quantum error correction to be in roughly 4 or 5 years. So our view is for quantum advantage, we will have some form of error mitigation, error correction, but for full implementation of QEC, particularly when we talk about like QLDPC, quantum linear density parity code kind of error correction, we are talking about fault-tolerant quantum computing, which we are talking about hundreds of thousands of qubits. And that's, we think, is in the 5 to 7 year kind of a timeline period. That's when you will really start talking quantum error correction in its full manner. For the quantum advantage, we'll be talking error mitigation and some form of error correction. Hopefully that answers your question.
That does. I appreciate it. And then maybe just one quick one for Jeff. You said on the 5.7 of Novera QPU sales that you had announced last year, you expected to capture most of the remainder in the second quarter. Looking at the Q you filed today, it looks like you had about 3 million of hardware-based sales. So is the remainder of that 5.7, roughly 2.7, be recognized in Q2? Is that sort of the right ballpark to be thinking about how the 5.7 split between Q1 and Q2?
Yeah, of that 5.7, we recognized a little bit less than half of that in Q1, and then we expect the remainder to go in Q2.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Quinn.
Thank you. Our next question or comment comes from the line of Craig Ellis from B. Riley Securities. Mr. Ellis, your line is now open.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question, Subodh. I wanted to start following up with some of the comments you made about the 108 qubit Cepheus's availability on Rigetti's QCS, and then on Amazon Bracket and Microsoft Azure Quantum and QBraid. The question is this, as it's attained general availability, what are you seeing in terms of engagement across the various platforms? And are you getting any feedback in terms of what the workload tests are framing up as?
Good question, Craig. It's still relatively early to talk about usage and what we are seeing since we just deployed the system a month or so ago. Definitely interest is high. Definitely we are seeing usage to be quite high, but it's too early to make judgments on the basis of early data. Certainly, we expect this to be used very well over the next few months as word gets around and people explore and use it. And we will continue to improve the system, as we mentioned. We'll continue to improve the fidelity, so we'll deploy higher fidelity 108Q system sometime later this year. And we definitely expect usage to continue to improve as we improve the performance of the system.
That's helpful. And then the follow-up question relates to one of your partnerships. So we established the Quanta partnership in 1Q of 25. The investment in Rigetti was formalized in early 2Q 25. As you look back at the first year of that deal, what would you identify as the top 2 or 3 things that are really going well and helping you in your ambition to scale up qubit count and system capabilities? And what would be the 1 or 2 things that you would hope that partnership could do this year?
Thanks, Craig. That's a really good question. We entered into a strategic partnership agreement with Quanta. As you mentioned, they did invest at that time about $40 million in Rigetti. But more importantly, there was a commitment on both sides to invest. We continue to invest in the quantum computing side. Quanta investments are more on the non-quantum computing, but the rest of the hardware part of the stack. And they have done that. We definitely, one of the key accomplishments we can point out to is how well they have designed the new control system. that we have started including in our most recent offerings. Our latest deployments that we are talking about to commercial customers and other customers we are exploring use of Quanta-made control systems instead of our home-built systems. And Quanta obviously is a large company with extremely high capabilities in CPU, GPU, cloud servers, so they know how to build server boxes, control system electronics, and we can clearly see that their professionalism in building those boxes. And they have a dedicated team working on control systems that work with our systems. And going forward, we definitely will be using Quanta's control systems as part of our stack. It's not an exclusive arrangement. We will continue to maintain our capabilities in that area, and Quanta will also talk to other quantum computing companies as well. So it's not like a mutually exclusive thing, but we definitely are benefiting with Quanta's expertise in control systems, and we definitely expect them to be contributing to other parts of the stack. So the first year, I would say definitely control system. Next year or two, we expect them to not only continue to develop better quality control systems, meeting our overall system requirements, but also get into the rest of the hardware stack. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you. Our next question or comment comes from the line of Vijay Rakesh from Mizuho. Your line is now open.
Yeah, hi, Subodh and Jeff. Just a quick question. So as you look at the Cepheus 108 qubit one, any thoughts on what you're getting on the price of uplift versus the 36 qubit one, and how the customer response has been on the Cepheus 108 qubit as you show availability on Azure and Bracket, etc. And a follow up.
Yeah, Vijay, it's still relatively early. We deployed the system just over a month ago, so it's still very early to talk about usage and what we are seeing. Definitely interest is high. Definitely we are seeing a lot of customers use the system right now, but it's still early to quantify that and talk about uplift over 36Q in terms of usage. Regarding price, I mean, we really are still talking about research kind of customers. So we are not talking about jobs that are very long in duration. Most of the usage is on the order of a few seconds to a few minutes at the most, because people are still experimenting with quantum computing and fundamental understanding of quantum computing, how it can be used, basic algorithm development type research applications. So we are not really seeing commercial customers with data center type operations trying to engage with quantum computing. And frankly, we shouldn't be seeing that for the next year or two. It's only when we start approaching quantum advantage in about 3 years should we expect those kinds of engagements to increase on cloud quantum computers. Cepheus 108 is one of the most powerful quantum computers on the cloud that is generally available for anyone right now. So definitely, I think this is what leading usage of quantum computing is what we are seeing right now. So as we continue to improve the performance, increase the qubit count, increase fidelity, we definitely expect more and more commercial customers to start using quantum computers. Having said that, right now we are still in the early stages, so hard to quantify the usage and uplift over 36 qubit.
Got it. And then on the CDAC, the 8.4 million win there, when do you start to see that layering into the guide, or when do you start to see shipments there? Thanks.
And I want to keep all of you guys entertained. I love doing these live streams. I thank every single person who is here today. Please drop in the live chat if you want to continue on this call, or if you feel that you want to get my analysis thus far and see some other things on this daily talk of stock, because I want to keep you guys entertained. We have 60 in here. Thank you to everybody being here. But drop in the comments whether you want to continue and finish out this earnings, or if you just want to finish out and get my opinions.
Thanks, Vijay.
Thank you. Our next question or comment comes from the line of Antoine Legault from Wedbush Securities. Mr. Legault, your line is now open.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my question. Just
our roadmap. Our fundamental architecture is still continues to be square grid and tunable couplers. By the way, I mean, that's what we see other large companies do too. Google's architecture is similar to ours. IBM recently changed their architecture from fixed coupler to tunable coupler technology. So very similar to what we are doing right now. So all three of us are deploying more or less similar architecture at that level. Tunable couplers, we all like them because it gives you an extra degree.
Okay. The people have spoken. I appreciate you guys saying that you want to hear me. Just similar to the QBit call, if you want to see the whole call, just go to their website. We went through most of the QBit call. We missed some of the questions and answers. I know that the member here, Alex, he was watching the rest of the QBit call. So drop some comments here on what you perceived after we left. It looks like in terms of price action, though, we are doing pretty decent. Again, these levels of gamma can act as such price magnets. So I'm not saying this is an exact tool and that it tells you exactly what's going to happen, but it can be a good indicator on where price may go with these earnings calls when you look at the weekly option expiration. And at one point we pushed all the way up to 12. So we had a lot of calls going into positive here, less calls around these levels, but it does look like that's where a lot of the positioning was. We did sell off a bit under that level back to 11. So again, looking at the main levels of gamma, give me 1 second. It looks like I was sharing the wrong screen there, so I could show you guys both. So again, going back to the main levels of gamma here on QBit, we have it drawn out. QBit, again, look at that, a lot around 10, which we broke through that level. So a positive to see, some around 11, and then also more around 12. We broke all the way up to 12, and then we started to have a problem right around that point, and now we are right at 12, well, where a lot of calls are placed. So let's see if the dealers buy more here and if we do see QBit push to higher levels. What I will say with QBit and Rigetti, these earnings today both looked very positive overall. In terms of gamma exposure with Rigetti, we never quite got off the launch pad with Rigetti. There's a lot of call volume here at 20, also some put volume around 1850. But tomorrow in the morning, we do have QBTS reporting earnings. My time, 4 a.m. Drop it in the live chat if you guys want to see a live stream of QBTS's earnings tomorrow at 4 a.m. The earnings call will be at 5 a.m. So drop that down in the comment section. And if enough people want to see me go live for the earnings for QBTS tomorrow, I will make the commitment. I will wake up early. I will drink my morning coffee and watch the sunset, or watch not the sunset, the sunrise with all of you as QBTS may rise to new levels. So QBTS, I love both QBit and Rigetti, but QBTS is actually my favorite quantum computing company. If you look at the history of quantum, again, if you don't know, I can't recommend it enough, Quantum Supremacy by Michio Kaku. If you don't know the history of quantum, the early days of quantum, QBit and Rigetti, similar in the fact that they both do the same type of quantum computing. Well, QBit now doing a lot of photonic technology, so that's pretty incredible. But you have gate model quantum, and then you also have annealing quantum. QBit and Rigetti are both more centered around that gate model, whereas QBTS is more around annealing. But again, this whole quantum sector does run in quite a bit of correlation. So last year, when I made my most euphoric return on investment, my best investment out of the entire year, again, it's going to be crazy if the market gods give us the exact same setup, because last year my best investment came at around this exact same time, and it was with D-Wave, and it was off of a great earnings expectation, their largest quarterly expectation. They exceeded it on that. Let's see if they could exceed once again like we saw today with QBit and Rigetti, and we break to more high prices on QBTS. We'll look at here in a second on QBTS. We'll do a quick analysis, but while we were going through these earnings calls, I thought it would be pretty funny. I got a pretty funny clip for you guys. So again, if you're not in tune with me normally, if this is your first time attending a live earnings call, we go live every single Sunday, just 30 minutes before the overnight session starts. We always do an analysis on what we expect for the week, as we were talking about this week's main narrative, quantum computing, and also Fed Week with the chairman. But I thought this was pretty funny. I put around these two clips, and both are with computer history, so keeping them relevant. This is the Windows 95's launch. This is how us QBit investors felt with the initial pop, and then I'll show how we all felt with Rigetti. So with QBit, we saw a massive explosion similar to this. Look at the excitement with the Windows 95 launch. How many people are fans of Bill Gates now? I know many don't like Bill Gates with his whole farm, whole monopoly of buying all these farms and all of that. A lot of people think Bill Gates is evil. During Windows 95 launch, people thought this man was a legend. I mean, truly a legend in the computing sense, with the history of what has gone on with Microsoft. Incredible growth with that stock. But that's how we all felt with QBit. We saw those beautiful green candlesticks, and we were all jumping around and woof, so exciting. And so then we had Rigetti here, and Rigetti being absolutely flat. So now I'm going to show what it was like for us Rigetti investors, us QBit investors, celebrating still at those higher levels of resistance, still having a breakthrough. But this is what it felt like for us Rigetti investors with how flat, I mean, absolutely flat, basically no movement with Rigetti here. So this is a classic clip. Again, what's incredible about the computer, we were talking about this earlier, is how much information is stored. This is a video all the way back from 2008. It stores the views, all the comments through the years. So truly, I'm just so impressed with computing and the internet and the technology that we have, the power in our palms, because even what we have right now, this is truly incredible. I am sitting here in front of my computer just doing what I would normally do all these years past, where I would just react to I would just watch these earnings calls and then watch the price movement. I started my YouTube channel. So many of you are showing support, and I appreciate that so much. But how amazing is it that we have 54 here, 53 live viewers and myself? We have a connection here between 54 people. We are all reacting to this. This just shows the power of the internet, the power that we have within our palms with these brokerages and the tools that we are soon to be getting with Robinhood Cortex to say absolutely incredible. The information age that we live in, there is so much quantum computing truly going to change the future. But I'm going to shut up here because we first saw the QBit launch. We saw, or the QBit earnings, and we saw it was like the Microsoft 95 launch. Well, this is how some Rigetti investors felt today. This was the last year iPhone's release. Some lady got burned. A truly classic film right here. And this is funny. Last year's, this was from 2008. Incredible how much time has went by. I can't believe that's 17 years ago. 18 years ago. This is truly incredible, by the way, just looking at history here. This is modern history. Oh my gosh, that is classic YouTube right there. Like I said, I had a friend earlier named Brijesh Patel. Awesome guy, Brijesh. If you're still here, thank you for being here today. But it's funny, classic YouTube. This is how long I've been on YouTube. We go all the way back to 2008. At some point in time, I'll show you guys the videos I made as a kid with Brijesh. Not today, because we got to start wrapping up here, but sometime in the future, I'll put it as one of my commercial breaks, and you guys could see what a 12-year-old Trevor looked like. Well, you can see what a young Trevor looked like. Here, I'll show this video if you guys have never seen this. But anyway, thank you to all who have been here. This has been a really fun live stream. Let me see if I could remember what video I put in the where I was a young fella. Let's see. It was a 2,000 subs, I think. 2,000 subs. Let's see. Or no, it was my birthday. That's what it was. All right, let's take a look at a young Trevor here. This is a young Trevor who didn't even know quantum computing was a thing, didn't know anything was a thing. Look at that. Here I am as a baby. So that is what I grew up to be today. Young baby to young man with that cake. That was a fun time. My birthday, the 1-year anniversary of Green Money Momentum. Again, thank you to everybody who shows support to this channel. It has been an incredible journey with Green Money Momentum. We started this back in September of 2024. Incredible how life just works out. I truly feel like it's divine timing, like it's meant to be. I've been so passionate about the stock market for so many years, been doing so much research, always reading books, and I just have a passion to talk about this. I like to make jokes about the stock market. You know, people will be talking about normal things, and I'll implement a way to talk about the stock market or derivatives or options contracts. I'm always thinking about it 24/7. I go to bed rolling around, staying up for hours extra at a time, thinking about applied digital, qubit, quantum, just all of these different things, right? So I have such a passion for the stock market. I've always had such a passion for YouTube, and it's been incredible growth that we have seen here with Green Money Momentum. So I started this back in 2024. I cannot believe how much time has been spent on this chair, on this channel, and it's been made all possible through everybody who shows support for Green Money Momentum. And as I've said before, if you're supporting this channel, I truly, I can't say it enough, I truly appreciate it. And I thank all of you because I love doing this. And this to me is a trading journal, but also a community. And if you guys did not interact with this channel, if you guys did not show up to my daily videos or these live streams, you know, this dream would not be happening right now. And I see a lot of growth happening with Green Money Momentum in the future. Everybody who is here, my moderators, so Chrysanthemum at Two Wheels Pursuit, Stephanie Diaz, George, everybody who has been here and shown a lot of support since the beginning. I truly thank all of you. And if you guys didn't see it already, I have built out greenmoneymomentum.com. But again, this is just the beginning days of Green Money Momentum. Just AI built this, right? So I actually made this website. I started it last Sunday. Yesterday, I made some updates to this. So I have a contact form if you ever want to talk to me one-on-one. I also have the chat room, which is being built out. So not quite there, but you can build a member profile. Right now, we have just one member, which is me, but this is how new I am to all of this. So I am an OG YouTuber. Give me a second. I've shown this before, and I show this never to brag. Funny enough, earlier in the live stream, there was a fella who insulted someone who was saying that he wasn't making enough money. Let's go back to that. But it's funny because it looks like he made his way back, and that was Darren. I think Darren had another YouTube channel. If I'm right here, and if I'm wrong here, Darren, I apologize for calling you out. But it's so funny because I think it was Darren that insulted another viewer, and I kicked him out, and I think he came back with another account. So Darren, subscribe twice to the channel if you got those two accounts, because we're trying to get to 3,000. But guys, I do have a YouTube play button, so I have officially before reached that 100,000 mark. Look how beautiful this is. This is my greatest accomplishment ever, a true trophy. But I feel so reminiscent about how this channel with the silver play button started. It all started out, I did a little bit of YouTube. It was some slow growth. Then I created TikTok, Facebook, Instagram for all of it, and I created a big social media presence. So I do have a lot of experience with social media, despite this account being a small account. But that is truly exactly how early all of you are. I plan on doing a lot more with Green Money Momentum, and I'm making progress towards that. The website is being built out soon. I will switch my background. I have a cool bookcase, have all these books and other things such as my championship belt that you guys saw. I'm always showing, you know, I have the buy the dip hat. And so I have a lot of passion for this channel. Despite this being such a small channel, it is truly my passion. But these are really the beginning days of Green Money Momentum. So not only did I build out my website, I also created a Facebook page. So you could go check this out. Thus far, I've only put on one famous quote from Warren Buffett, and that is that, the thing's cutting it off at the bottom. And that famous quote from Warren Buffett is that a bull market is like sex. It feels best right before it ends. But that's all I have thus far. I have one follower. Hey, awesome. Somebody followed me. Thank you to whoever followed me. But I have the Facebook page here. Also, I built out an Instagram, also Green Money Man. That is what I am on X.com. I need to start getting involved more with these social medias, but I'm truly doing it. Just like my business, it's like things work in a spurt. It's like just like anything, just like assets, it's not all linear and up all in one day. And again, I'm an organic guy. I don't have a team with me. So there are a lot of guys on YouTube who are, you know, with Wall Street. They're either formerly have been at Wall Street or even currently have some involvement with Wall Street or big firms. I don't have any of that. I'm just a guy who has studied the stock market a lot, is very passionate about the stock market, very passionate about learning. I feel that the more you learn, the more you earn. Very passionate about talking to the camera and just having a community. So everybody, again, thank you so much. The very early days of Green Money Momentum. Go check out those other social medias. Overall, I feel that we are about to wrap up here. We got some more memes. So, you know, with QUBT today, this may be how some people feel. We had that big rip up. Isn't this so funny? This may look exactly like this soon. Damn, I wish I bought. Somebody was watching that earnings call thinking, damn, I wish I bought. They didn't bought. Then they probably thought, haha, I was right not to buy. And then boom, if we see that rip up. And again, guys, quantum does run in correlation. So tomorrow we do have QBTS's earnings, D-Wave Quantum, going to be an exciting one at 4 a.m. Again, I might show up early. I love to wake up early. I just got to drink my coffee early, but we could see some big things with QBTS. Again, in terms of layers of support and resistance, in terms of ascension with those levels, right now we are at the bottom layer of cake. In QBTS, I saw euphoric ROI back in 2025. So recently I have prepared myself into these quantum plays. Very exciting to see what happened with QUBT today. I do have some options contracts on QUBT, so I am hoping that this momentum does continue through the night and we see a higher price, or at least continue to remain in these levels. This is a very positive thing to see for myself. Awesome to see. Now just taking a look at the chat for one last time. This is funny, George. Fantastic offer, but I love my sleep. Well, hey, that's all right. You know, this is still informational content. That is great for the day. What's so crazy about finance YouTube is how quickly things really do go. If you look at a video of mine from like a month ago or 6 months ago, so much has changed since that time. But, you know, George, you could always go back, watch the replay, and see if we do indeed go live tomorrow morning. You could see it here and then watch it whenever you get the chance through the day. I promise to bring some entertainment if I do that. And then wish all of us quantum believers got blessed like SanDisk holders. Well, you know, again, the quantum technology truly is incredible. These are in the small to mid cap range, so tons of potential. I am looking at the quantum plays, technology plays. Also a favorite here on this channel. I know he's still here in chat because he's been a great supporter of this channel. That is Mr. Two Wheels Pursuit. One of his favorites, SoundHound AI, another great play. If you guys missed the earnings call on this, Two Wheels did not miss it because he is always here. Again, Two Wheels, thank you for your support on this channel. But if you missed it, you could go back to my SoundHound Q1 2026 earnings that was streamed 3 days ago. SoundHound has some incredible technology, AI training, AI groundbreaking things, breaking out of just sound technology. Overall, it does look like we have lower highs and and higher lows being built in SoundHound. So I'm very excited with this play. Before I log out for the day, everybody, let me know if there are any assets that you want to see me cover before I hop off of this live. Another successful live that it was. So we had a lot of engagement for today. Very great to see. If you could ask a quantum researcher a question, what would you like to know? Honestly, that's a great question. I've been reading a lot on the quantum. Quantum really scratches my brain. Extremely complex technology. I'm really amazed with how quantum computers have a lot with the atoms. Like, you look at a normal classical computer, it's all binary code 010101. With quantum computers, it's about having atoms aligned. You got to have them in a cold environment. Any type of frequency, like sound frequency, can knock off the quantum computers. So they're extremely intelligent technology, super groundbreaking. And really, those who have done a lot of research and development within quantum, those who are actually working on that sector, the quantum insiders, those who really know, incredible how their brains work. Quantum is expected to make massive breakthroughs with time around healthcare, timing problems, and so on and so on, being able to come up with computations that would otherwise take tons of time with a normal binary computer. What's incredible about these two, they basically combine 0 and 1. So with a normal computer, just like my tie here, which I wore themed for quantum, you have 010101. With a quantum computer, it basically combines those together. So truly incredible. Should be at 50 likes. I agree with you, Chrysanthemum. I wonder how many. I didn't even look. We had 23 likes. Oh, come on, guys. If you haven't already, hit the like button, and hit the like button with a second account if you got one like that one fella may have had. Is he thinking of another girl? Nah. He's thinking about quantum. What a fun time we had. Again, the gamma exposure levels acting pretty accurate when we do look at how the performance went with QUBT and Rigetti. Again, QUBT had a big pop up, got stiffed right at 12, but RGTI, my gosh, now I'm getting tongue twisted. I guess that shows that this should conclude here soon, but they never quite got off the launch pad. My question to everybody, if you're still here, is who was harder to understand? Was it the gentleman with QBit, or was it the gentleman with Rigetti? My favorite comment that I saw, I thought it was so funny, was the guy that said that the stock was not moving because of the because of how hard it was to understand that guy with Rigetti. So that was hilarious, guys. And then hit the like button, and then I might show up for that in the morning. Abnormal options activity on SoundHound this week. With SoundHound, when we look at the main levels of gamma exposure, let's take a look at that really quick. I believe the main level of gamma with SoundHound is right around 10, which has acted as quite the neckline of resistance in the overnight market last week. I remember getting up to 10, and then as well as the pre-market. Look at all of that right there. We have a ton of gamma for both the strikes and the puts right at $10. Let's see which ends up being the stronger of the two. If we just look at net gamma, look at that right there, 9, 9, 9, 50, 10, so much right around those levels. There is a lot of puts around the lower ends right under $10. So let's see how the dealers position. Let's see what happens next. And then Two Wheels, if I do go live for the morning, you are always here for the live streams. It will be great to see you. If you are here, it will be an early morning commitment for me, but I love this channel and I would not mind doing that. Actually sounds like a wonderful way to wake up and get prepared for the day. So I may be doing it again. Last year, QBTS, my favorite stock, my personal favorite stock, provided extremely amazing return on investment. And I sold early with some of my position on those options contracts. Had I waited even longer, the return on investment could have been even more euphoric. Again, it feels almost as if the market gods are blessing us 2 years in a row with about the same setup. And then also, Alexi, thank you so much for your involvement in the chat today. I really liked your excitement with the Qubit earnings and everything else going on like that. So that was a fun time. And then it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Qubit for the win. Well, I will say, there was a question that was really not answered by the Rigetti the Indian guy at Rigetti. He said the question was, will it be expensed or capitalized? Basically expense, meaning that it reduces the profit immediately, so you immediately see it on that balance sheet, where capitalized means it is treated like an asset and reduced over time instead. He didn't really answer the question directly. He just said that, yeah, we have more capital investment coming up. So I guess he's saying there that it will be capitalized, but he still did not directly answer the question. Everything that they were saying at the QBit call, I would say, was more bullish. There was a lot of talk about that photonic chip foundry out in Tempe, Arizona, the energy, everything like that. Now, going forward, again, these stocks are still beat down quite a ways from where they were at back in October of last year. QBit, believe it or not, if you haven't been here for a long time, was all the way at $25. Incredible. Now has been beat down, but returning back to about 50% from that high of 25, now at 12. Rigetti, similar, down by a little bit more than 50%. At one point, Rigetti ran all the way up to the high 50s. Incredible to see. So down more than 50% from the highs. Again, these stocks can have a lot of volume and momentum. And if we look at the semiconductors right now, if we look at one of my favorite plays, I have been seeing euphoric ROI most recently on advanced micro devices. Another incredible call we had from this channel. Again, you know what's incredible about stocks too? I am well positioned in many different plays. As I always talk about, I try to position myself in many different stocks and try to see asymmetrical return on just a couple. And if that happens, it can make my whole year. That is advanced micro devices. We had an incredible call right around these levels. I said, I think it will look similar to QBTS as last year. Again, this is a game of variance like we saw with the earnings today, so anything is possible, but we did get a break through those levels. I love advanced micro devices. I can't say enough great things about AMD. The market cap is rising. Just yesterday, or what is today? Is today Monday? Yeah, today is Monday. Just Friday, we made a video and the market cap was showing at a spooky number of 666, and now at 742. As I've been saying, AMD looks like it will get to $1 trillion on the market cap. So if you feel that the stock price is already high, there could be a pullback at some point, but I would not fade AMD. There is a lot of hype around these chip manufacturers, a lot of hype around quantum, a lot of hype around technology, a lot of hype around robotics. Also, one of my favorite stocks did have a big day today. Also, this is one that I cannot just say enough great things about. My two main stocks that I hold, AMD and Robinhood, these two to me are both tremendous blue chip companies. Robinhood back to $80. That is great to see. Robinhood does look like it could finally break out of this downtrend that it has been in since October, sitting at the higher levels, possibly now seeing an uptrend. Again, we go live so often on this channel. We went live for Robinhood earnings. This was, I think it was last week. Let's see. Robinhood earnings. It's crazy how quick time goes. That was 12 days ago. That was our longest live stream ever at 3 hours. If you missed that, go back to that if you want to learn about the company, because Robinhood has so many tremendous fundamentals. And as I say time after time, I sound like a broken record. Those of you who have been watching me long enough probably already know what I'm going to say about Robinhood. And that is what? Well, that is that they are buying back their shares. So Robinhood has a buyback program instead of fears of dilution. With Robinhood, we have the opposite. We have the supply being bought up by the company, meaning that there is supply going down. And I would say that there's a lot of demand with Robinhood and even more to come in the pipeline. Back in 2025, this company was tremendous with the catalysts. There is always so much happening with Robinhood. And I just saw a beautiful update, by the way, on Robinhood. Now you could see on the options contracts, which again is what I am mainly in, I could see what is ITM. So there's an update that wasn't previously there, showing what is actually in the money for my contracts. So I love Robinhood. A great day. And again, looking at tomorrow, this is quantum week. These stocks run in quite a bit of correlation, despite Rigetti not having a big earnings report in terms of the price movement. The actual earnings was great. Both of these companies did beat on their earnings, and overall still looking very bullish, still on an overall bullish push up, on an up uptrend. And let's remember that initially, because these candlesticks will open up into tomorrow, that the movements we see here on the 1 year aren't showing what we just saw. So if we take QBIT right now, we are at, what is the price here? We're at 1162. So we could draw it all the way up to this level right here. So in between some major levels of support and resistance, but a big breakup, breaking past this level right here. So hopefully the momentum does continue. What's great about QBTS and their earnings tomorrow, it is going to be in the pre-market. And then with Rigetti, again, really no movement. So this candle is quite accurate, but both are looking bullish. And we have QBTS reporting earnings tomorrow. And to me, I am most bullish for QBTS. This is my personal favorite quantum stock. So last year, it was incredible when QBTS did report earnings in the morning. I love companies when they report in the morning, by the way, because if they do come out with a positive earnings, well, that works as a catalyst for the company. And then if you get bullish news throughout the stock market, well, the stock can rally even higher. QBTS is starting to get closer to being out of reach for some investors, getting to a higher market cap now, right now at $9 billion. If they do come out with a great earnings tomorrow at 4 a.m. my time, I would love to see you guys if I do indeed go live for tomorrow, which I think I will. I'll set my alarm for 3:30, right? It's always great to wake up. We'll see the sun rise out here, but I am expecting a big earnings from QBTS, and I could see that price action continuing throughout the day. And I agree with one of the comments that we got earlier that today's earnings with Rigetti was bullish, but the stock just did not wake up, probably because it was so hard to understand that guy and really pinned at this level of support right now. And then there was an arcade game in the early 80s called QBTS. I'm going to look that up really quick. Let's see. QBTS. Yes, QBTS. I remember QBTS. Wow. That is cool. We'll go play some QBTS. Have you ever seen, there's like a Google game. Let's see. Let's play some. What you'll get with green money momentum. We showed that killer tire from the movie Rubber. Now we're playing some Pac-Man after he was talking about what's it called, about QBTS for the quantum stream. Again, incredible what computers are able to do. This one realized there's still technically 16 people here watching me play Pac-Man, and I'm playing Pac-Man, and I'm live streaming all of them. This seems like super clever. Wow, on the Google map here. We'll eat that blue right there. Go through the E. Wow, this one, you guys are seeing drive. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yes, let's go. Will I complete this, fellas? Will I complete this? Are we going to get a legendary run? Let's see if we can go. Oh, no. Oh! Live gaming for you guys. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that was a risky one. That was a risky one. We're not going to miss it. Oh boy. This is so fun. I'm so happy you mentioned QBTS. Oh, no. Okay, they gave up that one. Blue and orange gave up on that one. Oh, shit. Oh, we almost had it live on one try. Oh, man. That was almost a legendary run here on Pac-Man. Oh my God, so much fun. Again, I always love doing this, guys. I feel most live when I go live. We'll play one more level of this right here, and then I will call in. Thank you to everyone who joined me on the live stream today. So much fun. Oh, it's the blue. Oh, that was a risky one. That was like a short term. The money option. Oh man, dang it, man. See, and that's why I say how I could just introduce stock market talking things. I got risky with that ghost there. See, that's like a short-term OTM option, right? That's just my passion I have for the stock market. Always talking about it, guys. I cannot believe 16 of you are watching me play Pac-Man right now. This is so awesome, and we are finishing up here in just a second, guys. Again, thank you to everybody who joined the live stream today. Again, so much fun. Check out greenmoneymomentum.com if you get the chance. I'm about to sign out, so everybody who is here, drop a goodbye or a good night in the live chat. I would like to see who's still here. While we still have 15 in the live chat watching me play some Google Pac-Man. Oh! You know, by the way, Google has some quantum computers, so this is actually very fitting. Game over with that. Stream over. Drop your good nights, drop your goodbyes in the live chat because I'm about to sign out here and say goodbye to everybody. What a fun time. We watched some entertaining clips. We played some Pac-Man. We saw a lot of excitement with QBT's earnings, and we watched some paint dry with Rigetti, but overall a very exciting day. I may or may not be going live in the morning, but set your alarms anyway. Wake up even if I don't go live. No, I should go live. We'll see. Even if I don't, you'll get my daily talk of stock as I always do. Daily videos, weekly live streams. We may be early for tomorrow. Good night, Two Wheels Pursuit. Thank you for joining us on the live stream today, as well as everybody else who did participate. This was a very successful live stream overall. The first time we have went through an earnings where we talked about two companies, went through two earnings calls. In my opinion, everything with this was bullish. I am very excited for the quantum sector, for the future, for this week, not only quantum week, but also the Fed week. If you did not already hit that beautiful like button, please subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. I thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you all possibly in tomorrow's live stream. If not the live stream, I will see you in tomorrow's daily talk of stock, or both, because if I do that early live stream, I will most likely also still do my video for tomorrow. So we might have some double time, some overtime on green money momentum. Get prepared, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everybody made some big money today. Thank you all, and I will see you all the next time I am on camera. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday.